Hello. Ham had a pretty cool idea, and she wanted to document the process of Sindre and Rohina's song making. So this is the first step. Currently, I'm working on looking for an Icelandic visa that fits the moment. And all I have to do is find something that's not too long and not too complicated. And then I'll send it over to her, and she'll do her magic. Currently, she's just working on TLD stuff. And yeah, so over to her. Hey, one quick stop with me before we send you over to Ham. I found, what's the word I'm looking for? Visa, a poem that works. So over here, if we move you over here, I found it on a website that keeps a track of many very old, beautiful poems. And we found this one that, kind of works. It's about a man who, longs for a single flower that grows in the west. And, it's kind of sad and harmful. I think Travis will probably upload our, ramshackled translation of it. But, alright, so this is what I find, and I'm going to send it over to Ham, who's going to take the next steps. Thank you for listening so far.
Hey everyone, so this is the part of the thing where I try and figure out what music I'm gonna kind of base what the tune is gonna be on. Some of them, at least to me, feels really obvious, but when Travis works his magic and does all of his tuning on us, it doesn't often sound the same, so I tend to use it as a basis. So what I currently have is I have Eyþór's poem that he found. I have he helped me with the translations. He helped me with the pronunciations, in which I'm going to horribly ruin, and he'll correct for me much, much later when I actually go to say it.
Yeah.
Gang. Oh, but gang with an E.
Yeah, it's just gang.
Jeg, Frau.
Faur.
Faur.
Yeah, that's a very old Icelandic word. I did not know what it meant until we... Faur?
I also wrote down the English translation, which helps me out because then I can kind of figure out exactly what the song is supposed to be about. Then it comes down to actually picking the music, and that's some of the chaos that I'm going to be doing now. So I'm going to show you a couple of things, and I'm going through a couple of trials. It's mostly trial and error. The way I select these tends to be slower things because I can't speak Icelandic very fast, and that means that anything I sing is going to be awful, and it's not going to be coherent at all. So I tend to pick things that are a little slower and sound a little bit more epic, especially when it comes to things that are really emotional, especially after... When this one comes up, it will be after a very heavy scene for Rowena and Sindri, so I try to pick something that sounds about that. I'm going to pick a pop song, I'm then going to pick something that's a little bit more obscure, and I will stop this and then we'll show you how that goes. Okay, so what we have here is that we have the Icelandic, my terrible Icelandic, how I read them, and we also have the English translation. I don't really look at this much after the first or second glance, but it's good for me to have it there. I can kind of figure out which word I'm saying. For example, I know that blom, because I've used this 3,000 times in Icelandic, I know that means flower, so I have a vague idea of what's going on. The first thing I decided to give it a try at was actually Blink-182, I Miss You, but it was way too fast, so that was never going to work. Sometimes I pick pop songs because it doesn't sound the same when it's dramatised. So the last one was a little bit ambitious. I can't sing those, it's a little bit out of my range as I'm standing up, and this is mostly for timing, and it didn't work. So this one is actually I'll Follow You Into the Dark, which was actually a song by... Cab for Cutie or Death Cab for Cutie, I don't remember exactly, but this is a woman who has covered it, and her name is Eritan Kate the Great 19. I really like this tune, and it won't sound anything like this when Travis has finished with it, but this just for timing, we'll see how it goes. I forgot this has a long opening, I'm sorry. Það vext ei blóm fyrir fyrsta nóg for nóttin mildur og góð. As you can see, I'm actually about ready to record now. It's just going to be the initial track that I put down, and I'll re-record my lines later. It's just so that I thought I can get a good feel for what we're doing, and I'll just re-record everything so it sounds better later. And if I have to change the keys so that he can sing it because he has a way deeper voice than I do, then I'll do that later as well. So this is just me laying down the initial track. I have one ear free because I actually can't just have headsets on and sing. I just sound terrible, so I've learned from my previous mistakes, and I always make sure I have one earphone off so I can hear myself. Monitor does not help me in any way, shape or form. So I have Reaper open because Reaper is my editing software of choice. And I will also have the music playing in one of these ears so I can keep time, I can keep rhythm. So I'm about to have 3 or 4 screens open. I'm not sure I can hold my camera up at the same time, but I'll give it a go once I hit record. Mine are not exactly a disaster, but Eyþór recognised the tune, and he has a big problem disassociating whatever it is that if he knows it, it's real bad. He can't disassociate between the two or add new beats or anything. So I'm kind of back to the drawing board. I've had to look for another song, and thankfully part of our normal process is that we don't have any interaction when we do this. We used to do this, in 2 separate countries. But I was here when he was humming the beginning of it, and I thought he was singing something else, which was great, because then I was like, haha, I have a new idea, and it's perfect. So I'm actually going to be doing this to Jerusalem, which is, I guess, the unofficial national anthem of the UK, but it's definitely out of copyright, so I hope, which is also a major factor. But it's one that Eyþór doesn't know, I'm hoping, and if he recognises it, then I'm screwed and I'm going to start afresh. So it's essentially the same thing. I've been sitting here for the last hour and a half running through the tune and running through the beats, and I'm probably going to try recording it without the music because that will probably help me not stick to it. The beat is a little bit off in places and I have to add a couple of notes here and there, and I want to try singing it slightly lower so that Eyþór definitely has no idea, especially because I want him to be singing the lower part, and I'm probably going to sing naturally because I have a more feminine voice, the kind of higher parts, and hopefully get some harmonies in there. But first I have to get it to Eyþór for pronunciation and for him to add his own little, it's easier for him to sing, and I'm pronouncing it completely wrong. So alright, let's give this another shot and we'll see how it goes. Það vex ei blóm fyrir vistan og fornótin mild og góð. Eyþór just got the track that I made him, that you kind of heard. It's very different now. Partly because it's a tune that either of us could hit originally. I was just hoping maybe. So we just went through it. Eyþór was singing a bit here and there, so I just came over and sat with him, and Eyþór's kind of butchered it in a beautiful way, and we've just been talking through different sounds and musics and stuff. So we are gonna sing what we have kind of messed up together, and then we'll show you how we record all this separately and finally bring it together.
Alright, this is take 1, I guess.
Yeah, we're kind of doing the whole recording thing. We're going to see how this goes. This is basically going to be our rough guide, and then we'll both record this separately, and it will sound much better.
Hopefully.
We hope.
You'll be the judge.
You'll be the judge. Travis will be the judge and will auto-tune us. Actually, he'll manually tune us. He's way better than that.
Það vex eitt blóm fyrir vestan og vornóttin mild og góð, kemur á ljósum klæðum og hver fyrir vestan og veit ekki að ég til. We're going to have to work on that ending.
So that's going to be the thing. We're going to go away, practice it a little bit, and then hit record. I say practice, we're going to record this tonight and get this straight out because he kind of needs it real quick. He needed it yesterday. It's not true, he needed it. He wanted it a while ago, so I guess that's that. See you soon. So Eyþór has sent me his track. It's all beautiful and pretty, and it's basically what we're going to run with. So now I am literally following the lyrics over here. And over here I have his track about to play. Again, one ear off because I need to listen to myself. Okay. Það vex ei blóm fyrir vestan og fornótin mild og góð, kemur á ljósum klæðum og kveður því vögguljós. Ég kann þessi eina blómi sem aldrei ég fékk að sjá, og þang var horfinn minn hugur í hljóði og einmana þrá, og því geng ég fár og fölur
með framandi jörðviðinn. Það vex eitt blóm fyrir vestan og veit ekki að ég til. Það vex eitt blóm fyrir vestan og veit ekki að ég til.
Hey everyone, it's Travis with Fool and Scholar Productions. It's been some time since your last video update. I know Eyþór's making a video with him, and I am making this one. It's been about 6 months since that video took place, and the files are finally ready to continue the song, so it's quite exciting. So let's see what we got. So what am I going to do? I'm going to pull on these 2 tracks that I've got from them. They're now in my digital audio workspace, and we're going to see what we can do. I'm going to hit the button. Cool. Wonder what speed this is at. Let's try figuring that out. Okay, it's definitely not 1 BPM. So I'm going to have to tap it out and record it using my... to also give them a bit of extra time. I'm also going to, throughout this process, the parts where they go too quick, I'm going to like cut it up and add a little bit of space. So we'll have, actually I'll do that with all 3 tracks. So it'll have like nice even breaths. This is probably the most boring part of the process to watch. So, can't do that. It's probably the most boring part of the process to watch. So I'm going to do this off screen and come back to you with a more cut up version of the song with cool little piano tappity. Hey, we're back again, and here's where we are. And I've done these little crossfades, so the breath doesn't sound too noticeably awkward in the little spots in between. Now what we're going to do, we are going to open a thing called Melodyne, which is a program that I use to edit vocals. It's pretty cool. It allows, it's the same one they used for Gladys in Portal, the Portal games. We're going to see what that's going to sound like. I'm going to load the vocals in one at a time, and I'll show you what I'm going to do in terms of creating a sound and how that's going to affect it. But one other thing I want to do is establish a basic instrument. I've already kind of done that off screen. I got really excited. I found this really cool piano VST plugin that I use, which is basically, it is the sound of if you plucked the, I have to arm it, 1 second. Here we are. It's the sound of a piano if you plucked the strings of the piano. So that's pretty cool. So and the song is slowly forming, because I know they sang it to something like maybe an Evanescence song or something, but I have a different idea as to how it sounds in my head. So let's make that happen with Melodyne. All right, I'm going to pull a track into Melodyne, like I was saying. And here it is. This is officially the track in Melodyne of Hem's vocals. What do they sound like? This is, again, just naked vocals, so please forgive the awkwardness of this. We're gonna pitch center to the individual notes and reduce the drift of the notes away from center. So what does that do? The part that you just heard, for instance, This is an easy example. And we're not doing the T-pain thing. We're being very specific with what we're doing. You can hear the difference. And it sounds really weird when you chop it up like that. But the purpose of what I'm doing here is to make this sound different and to write my own words or write my own melody with her song. And we're going to cut up different parts of it to pitch them. And now, with one difference. Ooh, as opposed to what it was before. Another quick example. So by simply pushing this one note down, the entire phrase now sounds different. Also, we can pitch drift that even further. And I don't normally do 100%, but I'm doing it for the video just to show you guys the difference. We're here with Eyþór's vocals one more time just so we can... Like, there are a couple things where you could see like, okay, this is slightly between notes, so let's make a decision on where they're going to be. Let's pitch them so that the notes, you can see they like go a little bit closer. This is actually very bad if you're doing vibrato. You should never use this on vibrato. And there's that little dip in the beginning where it goes, and we can take that out. And that's very natural how people sing or speak. We have these dips, especially if we don't sing for 30 hours a day. And now it's pitch perfect. So it makes you pitch perfect to the point where it actually causes issues if you have multiple singers who are both in time and on the same pitch because they are the same instrument. Effectively, your ears get really confused, so you have to pan them so they can both be audible. So that's the next step. I'll be doing this for a while for him and for Eyþór, and then I'll export those tracks as the edited versions back in a moment. I'm really nervous about writing in front of a camera, and it actually, the issue is the audio sort of died. I have the video of it, of me trying to like program the words, and I actually typed them out one by one, and it took a really long time, but apparently none of the audio transferred. So here's basically what I did over the course of that. I had this, they're pitch perfect and timed. I added these, doubled the melody, what they're doing, and I added these little things underneath that are basically the root note, dun, 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 plus the melody. And I'll tweak the timing as I get further into it. And then I also had these little chord pieces. Like I added extra notes in between so it sounded a little bit more rich. However, the timing is really killing me. Like, I'm doing pretty good on being able to put this all together. However, the timing, because it's in free time, and free time is very tough to write in. I basically have it like written out in free time, but it doesn't sound note perfect, and a lot of perfectionists to go into the timing of it. So I'm going to ask my friend Steven for some help on that. And I will come back with a video of what he sends me, and we're going to go through that together. Hey, welcome back again. So a couple things have happened. I grossly underestimated how much timing needed to go into this. And here's the map that we had to build. Actually, I say we, it was all Steven. Steven figured out it was in 6/4 and what measure each thing changed at. So this is the modified BPM map of what we've got. I've also established just putting a little bit of reverb on each of the voices makes a huge difference. Sounds so much cooler.
Ég kann þessi veina blómi sem aldrei ég fékk að sjá og þangva horfir minn hugur í hljóði.
That's my original dun dun sort of going on. And we've come up with this new modified version of the melody that Stephen was really great at arranging. Stephen Melin, the fantastic composer that we talk about so much here. And what we've got here is this neat little melody piece. Hopefully you can hear it. And this is being played on a variation called an articulation. So articulations are basically, if you imagine an instrument, we're playing an instrument, we're playing it differently. So we're just plucking the notes, we're going with a pluck, and that's a cool sound. But then we also have a different articulation playing the same thing doubled, and that is the piano being hit with a mallet. A very light mallet. Like, this is basically trying to replicate the sound that I have of a hammered dulcimer. So we're trying to replicate that sound, but with cute dog. Sorry, little guy. 1 minute. We're trying to replicate that sound, but with a piano, basically a digital piano. That's actually a real piano that's been plucked, and these are the actual samples from the piano to create this sound, which would be very difficult to replicate without paying a harpist a lot of money. So that is where we are right now, and it sounds almost identical. And we've got that plucking going on the bottom. That's the green line. And we've got the doubled layers. We also have the lead. And I added an echo. You really can't hear it, but it just sort of is a ringing note that goes through underneath it all. And we've added some extra stuff underneath it. So that's sort of a mixture of Steven and myself. I realized also that I didn't tell him this, but I needed an extra bit in the beginning, which I basically copied and pasted this chord progression back a little bit and added a little bit of an extra hard note, like a couple notes in the beginning, so it feels like you're starting with a strum instead of a single note. So there's a lot that's gone into this. It's probably taken us the better part of a day between myself and Steven to put this together, not including anything the other guys did, which was quite a lot as I understood it, to write this little song that's maybe 60 seconds long. Music's hard. Really good music's hard. How about that? And to make the mixing process go better, I also panned the vocals a little bit to the left by 30% and 30%, or 23, right, for the vocals respectively, so you can hear what they're up to. And they are much better as a result of being panned. You can hear both voices. My original mix, you couldn't hear both. Eyþór overwhelmed him, or the other way around, because their notes are identical. So panning them allows you to hear both voices. So that's what we have. You'll hear it on our episode, which is out, will be out probably by the time you see this video, maybe not, hopefully, fingers crossed. Episode 14 of Dark Dice.
Það vex eitt blóm fyrir vestan og vornóttin mild og góð kemur á ljósum klæðum og feður því vögguljóð. Ég ann þessu eina blómi sem aldrei ég fékk að sjá og þangva horfir minn hugur í hljóði og einmanna frá og því geng ég fár og fölur með framandi jörðinni. Það vex eitt blóm fyrir vestan og veit ekki að ég til. Það vex eitt blóm fyrir vestan og veit ekki að ég til.